Alright guys, behind me I have my rifle build, my Lancaster rifle I've been working on. I've got the barrel channel done, I've got the tang inlet, and I finished the ramrod channel and the ramrod. All this is being done by hand. But I got my really awesome bit in the mail here, and this thing is just gargantuan. It's a 3/8 bit, straight shank, really heavy, 48 inches long. And it's getting to be that time where it's time to drill the ramrod hole. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit nervous. I think the thing I'm fearful of the most is that the bit is just going to pop right out in that barrel channel underneath. But we'll see what happens. All you could do is try. I'm going to lubricate the end with some linseed oil, just like they would have done back in the day. And see what happens. You guys wish me luck. This is a 1/8 web because I'm not going to say brave and I'm not going to say stupid because that's just mean to myself. But a very naive man. But I wanted a really slender profile on this Lancaster rifle, so we'll see. The web looks good. All my measurements check out. I just used some calipers here and just checked my depth along the length of the forestock. And now's the time. It's going to be done by hand. Cross your fingers, say a prayer, rub your belly, pat your head, whatever you can do for me to make this work out would be much appreciated. Here's the old ramrod channel. Everything's looking really nice. Everything's really smooth. I actually got the hole started by hand just a little bit, just to get me going. And when I say by hand, I mean I twisted the bit by hand. But you can see it lays in there nice and flat. I'm gonna put a couple clamps on here, and I'll be standing on the opposite end, getting this thing going. Not a lot of room there, is it? One thing I did was mark the end of the belly. And the end of the belly is determined by your breech plug. Where your breech plug stops in the barrel. There's my breech plug line. So I put the tip of the bit at the line on top, and then got my 11.5 inch mark there. So just like that. And then I know where to stop. So far, guys, I'm just taking my time. I'm listening to the bit cut, and it starts to, you can hear a little bit of a draggy kind of squeak when the wood chips in there get to be a little bit much. But I mean, you can see I am just going so slow, and I'm praying, and you know, Jesus was a carpenter. He totally understands my dilemma right now. But this is one of those things where, you know, it's almost therapeutic. You're just getting in a rhythm, and it can almost lull you into not paying attention. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to stop talking here in a second because I'm really using my ears to listen to the cut of that bit. And I'm just taking my time here. Keeping the shank of the bit nice and flat and level. And I think starting the hole prior at a little bit of a downward angle and by hand really helped establish this direction. But I'll fill you in a little bit to see, or so we can see, you know, how things are going. We can see my 11.5-inch mark. We've got about 7.5 inches to go. Just taking my time, and I think it's almost 9 o'clock right now at night, so I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. More linseed on the tip. Chip's starting to get bound up a little bit. Pull it right on out. There we go. Little by little, guys. We are on the home stretch, and we've got about 1/2 inch to go, and that's done. So it should be pretty much one more pass. And nothing's come out of the bottom, nothing's come out of the top. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. Fingers crossed for this last 1/2 inch. And just to kind of show you my setup, it's not great. Everything's level though. I've got it wedged at this end to support the hand drill. And then I've got it clamped here with a piece of wood scrap on the bottom and top. And starting that bit allowed the end to seat, so when I clamped this, there was no wobbliness. It was just ready to roll. So we're gonna go ahead and do this last 1/2 inch and see how things look after that. You should be able to see my mark up there. Got a little bit of stuff in the way. That linseed oil really makes the difference. And honestly, having an amazing, solid, sharp bit like this it just gave me all the confidence in the world. So here we go. You can probably see my black mark on there, hopefully. These are the last few passes here, if I'm not mistaken. I might have to take it out one more time to clean it, but we'll see. That should be it. Let me check the underside. God knows. Man. All right, I'm gonna shove this back down in there and just double check. Make sure we're where we want to be. That looks good. You can kind of see maybe what's left of our mark there from our Sharpie. And I'm going to take this back out. Let's see. Bring her on out. I'm going to take the hand drill off. And we're just going to check our mark here. I'm going to put a mark back on it. Let's see. There's our mark right there. And just to verify that that's our mark, we should be sitting at 11.5. That is us. Awesome. Shoo! There she is. All the way through. No breakthroughs. And if you guys are wondering why there's glue here and it looks like pieces have been glued on, that's because pieces were glued on. When I initially cut this with the saw, I just didn't leave enough of a wall for that channel that I felt like would have been a good enough guide for that drill bit. So I just glued some, the strip I cut back off, or the strip I cut off back on to allow me that fence basically to keep that drill bit there. But by the time this is all shaped down and said and done, there shouldn't be hardly anything left of that. But all in all, I'm super pleased. That is a finished ramrod hole, or push rod, I think is what they call it. All by hand, no tools, no power tools. You know, still got a little bit of finessing in the channel here, but you know, it's all done by hand. And all those dark marks are just from markers where I've been seating the barrel, inletting the barrel. This is awesome. I'm tickled to death. All right, what a long night. But technically, you know, I'm not totally out of the woodwork yet, because even though I've got this channel drilled, I still need at least 1/8 between the bottom of the barrel and the top of the ramrod, your web. Which I feel like, if my measurements are correct, there should be plenty of room there. That's crazy. It actually made this, made it a little bit lighter. The channel right now is a little bit swollen from that linseed. So I'm gonna let it chill out for a while, but you can see I'm just gonna put a thinner rod down here. There you go. No holes. So, whew, man, I tell you, between inletting the barrel and doing that ramrod channel, there's a lot of pucker factor there. But you know, doing it by hand, there's no better way. You know, this is my first build, and you know, I've been woodworking for a long time, but you know, the thing is to just do it in your mind over and over again, and I don't want to get too preachy, but the more you practice it, the more you research the, you know, the good tools you invest in, like that drill bit, you'll be in good shape. It's just a matter of making sure everything lines up right for the next step. So yeah, never done a build before. This is my first one, but I feel as though it's coming along quite nicely. And the thing I enjoy about doing this by hand the most is the wood is basically speaking to me. As I was cranking that hand drill, I could feel the bit taking bites out of the wood. I could feel the grain coming back to my hands. So it was really letting me know what was going on and that I was on the right path. As opposed to having a power drill and just, you know, going at it. You got a lot of vibration in that drill alone. You know, it's just not as telling, basically. But here it is. We're going to continue on. You know, totally cut out by hand. The barrel channel, totally by hand and chisels. And the ramrod channel and hole, totally by hand. Feels awesome.